guys, and welcome back to another video. So today's vid is day 20 of Vlogmas, and it's another exciting one because I have now been LARPing. Yay! So I've made two videos about LARPing before. My first one was called I Want to LARP, and in it I spoke about how I wanted to go LARPing. Then my second one was called I'm Going to LARP because I found a LARPing group and I was actually going to LARP, and now I've been LARPing. I've had my first ever LARP and I want to talk about it, obviously, because oh my god, I went LARPing. So the first thing I'm gonna say is, if you've watched my previous vids, I wasn't so sure about LARPing because I knew I was either gonna love it or I was either gonna hate it. I loved it, definitely want to continue doing it and just become a LARPer full time. Makes it sound like a job, oh I wish. I liked it, I loved it, it was so fun. I had so much fun that day, it was so good. So I didn't get any footage of the LARP itself, however I did film a couple bits before, and we also had a social event after the LARP where all the people who did the LARP went back to one other person's house and we just chilled for the evening, got to know each other. Well, they already knew each other. I was the new one, so they got to know me, and it was really awesome, and I did get some videos from that, so I will insert those at some point during this vid. I do have photos of the event, so I will show you guys those, which is awesome. The way the day worked out is I had to get up at like 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday, and I had to get ready, and then my dad drove me to the place where, because they were meeting at one place, like an inn or something, and then driving to the place where we were going to have the event. So my dad had to drive me to the inn. It was like an hour's drive from my house, which is why I had to get up so early, because I had to get there for like 9. So we got to the place and like we had to try, and we didn't know where they were going to be or anything, but having watched vids on YouTube and on their website and that, I actually recognized them. We just went in it, I was like, it's them, I see it. And it was kind of weird because I'd seen all these people in videos and photos, and now I was seeing them in person. I was like, okay, that's really weird, but you know, I recognized them, so we just kind of awkwardly went over, and then my dad was like, you guys the LARP? And they're like, yes. Are you Chloe? I'm like, yes. The thing is, I was more nervous about meeting the people and finding them and stuff than I was about LARPing itself. And so once I got the first hi, yeah, I'm here to LARP with you, once I got that done, I wasn't as nervous as I was, because I was so nervous the morning before I went. So they were all like sat down at tables and that, and I just kind of joined them, and I just kind of sat quietly. A couple of them like spoke to me. I was like, sup. So once everyone was there, the then leader dude guy person of the LARP handed out character packs, which looked like this. Not as creased, that's my fault. And they had our like characters, items and stuff in them. So a language translation sheet. We got our potions. Look how cute these are. So this was a potion of life force, and I got 2 of those. And then I got 2 pink ones, which are potions of healing. And these were like what your character first starts off with, so I had that. I got the monies. These are the landies, which are the in-game currency. That's all the stuff I got for my character, which I obviously needed in the game. And then once we all had everything, we then headed off to the main site, and I got a lift with the leader dude. And then we got to the event, and that was when it started to get exciting, because the event was actually held in like a forest, in like a woodland area where people would go to walk their dogs and stuff. So there wasn't much there apart from trees. But like we all started getting in costume and getting all the gear out, and that was really exciting.
Run away faster. And then Vinny got taunted by a hill with a boat.
I wasn't the only newbie there. Well, I was the only one who'd never LARPed before, but there were some people who had never LARPed with this particular group before, so we had to be pulled aside and they had to tell us all the rules and stuff. They also told me about all the combat, and I got to practice a bit with my sword and that. And speaking of, obviously I got into I had my costume, which you would have seen in my previous LARP vid, and then on top of that I borrowed some gear. The leader guy gave me this extra fur thing just because it was cold and raining on that day and we were going to be outside the whole time, so he gave me that to keep me warm. And then I also got a quiver, arrows and a bow and a sword, and it was so cool. And I have a picture of me in my full costume look at it right now because it was so awesome. Once everyone was there and in costume, we got a picture with all the people playing, and I'll show that right now as well. That's not everyone who was there. We obviously had the people who were crewing, they were playing NPCs and that sort of thing. My character is a marksman with a bow and arrow. They got me to try use the bow and arrow. It didn't end well. I literally I did it and the arrow just fell on the floor in front of me. The one thing that annoyed me is the bow that they had. Whenever I've done archery, the bow has like a little bit sticking out that the arrow sits on top of. So you just hold the bow with your hand and you pull it back with the other one and the arrow just sits there and then you can do it. No, this one didn't have that. So you have to hold the arrow in place. But then the guy showed me how to use it and I was pro after that. Totally. Once everyone was sorted, we let the people crewing go on ahead to get everything set up and then all us players went on and started our adventure. The combat was the one thing I wasn't sure of. If you watched my previous LARPing vid, you will know that I made my character so that she doesn't get involved in combat that much because I wasn't sure about it. Because it is actually like so intense because the people playing the bad guys, like they full on like charge at you and you're just there like, oh my god, I'm going to actually die. The first battle didn't go very well. I didn't die though. I only lost 2 out of 3 of my health. But then gradually, as we had more and more combat and stuff, I just got more confident and it was awesome. So yeah, we continued on our adventures, fighting every now and again, talking, and a whole lot of stuff happened. The most exciting fight that happened was all the people crewing fighted us, and like most our players ended up dead. Well, they didn't die, they went down and then had to be healed and stuff. And guys we were fighting decided to form a shield wall that they all hid behind. And so obviously everyone else of the players only had swords and stuff, so they couldn't exactly do anything. And they were like, hey Archer, do you want to like shoot an arrow over the wall for us? I'm like, oh no. The pressure did kind of get to me because the first time I tried to shoot, the arrow didn't even leave the bow. I don't know what I did, but it just didn't go well. But I redeemed myself because then I shot again and it hit a guy right in the back and like took him out of the shield wall. The dedication and commitment some of these LARPers have is mighty impressive. I don't even know what happened, but it ended up with one of our players eating a leaf. Not the whole thing, but he literally took a bite out of this leaf that he'd picked up off of the floor. Like, if that's not commitment, I don't know what is. There was this one bit that happened towards the end of the LARP that was really awesome, where there were these 2 bad guys that were like blocking our way, and they were clearly outnumbered by us players. And then one of the players was like, okay, what if you guys duel each other? Whoever wins, we will let go without harming. And so they were like, okay. And then they had this duel, these 2 NPCs. Now, obviously, spoiler alert, that kind of ruined it. It was planned. One of the crews had actually spoken to the player, telling him to suggest this so that it would happen. But it was still so hilarious. And my favorite thing while they were dueling was just the players just stood there watching like, this is entertaining, this is great. It was really fun to watch because it was these 2 guys dueling and one of them had really long hair and the other one had short hair and stuff. And then one of the players watching was like, fuck me, my money's on the guy with the hair. That's literally a quote that happened. It was so funny, oh my god. And like some players made actual bets with their in-game money on it and stuff. It was so good, it was so good. There was also another moment where a player was talking with one of the NPCs and the topic of a thumb war came up, and so they had a thumb war, and then afterwards the NPC was like, are we married now? And so then some other stuff that happened. Like I said, we were doing in a woodland where people would take their dogs for a walk, and there were a lot of people who would take their dogs for a walk, and it's the funniest thing literally, because you're LARPing, you're really into it. You could be like in the middle of combat or something, then someone will suddenly shout the like timeout thing, so you have to freeze, and then you've got all these like people who you've just been fighting, they're just there like, oh puppy. Now the most stressful thing of the whole LARP normally took place after the combats, and that was finding arrows. As you know, I had a bow and arrow. I was shooting arrows at players, and obviously when the combat went, I couldn't shoot one instantly pick it up. I had to, because I normally had to then move away from the enemy so I don't get hit, and then I'd shoot another one in that. And so I then had to, after each combat, go and pick up my arrows, and this would have been fine, except we were in the middle of a forest, in the middle of autumn, winter, leaves all over the floor, it's also wet and raining, and these arrows, they're arrows, they were very hard to find. And so the most stressful thing was literally trying to find these arrows, because they weren't mine, they were the crew's, and so I didn't want to like lose any. Towards the end, when we had the more intense combat where I was just constantly firing arrows, the rest of the players kind of chipped in and helped me out, so that if they had a moment they would pick up an arrow and come put it in my quiver for me. So we had a lot of teamwork going on, which worked really well. But yeah, that was the most stressful part, finding arrows. But in terms of archery, apparently I was really good with the bow. That's what they all said. And I wasn't actually, I was better than I thought I was going to be. I got some good shots in sometimes. The LARP lasted between 6 and 7 hours, and for that entire time I didn't sit down once. I literally didn't sit down once at all. Spent the whole time stood up, walking, running, fighting, like, and yeah, and the event was just really good. By the time we got back to the entrance of the site where we had all our cars and stuff parked, it was dark. We couldn't see anything, which was, it was, you know, so it literally went on all day. And that was cool. And when we finished the event, like, oh my god, there was nothing more exciting than when we're like walking towards the end and then the person yells the word that means the game has finished that I cannot remember, but when they yelled that, and then people literally cheered, they were like woo and stuff. I'm like, yes, we just finished a whole LARP event. So during the course of the event you do kind of gain items that you take off of dead NPCs and stuff, and I didn't actually get anything, but what they do is at the end everyone who got something puts it together and then we equally give it out to all the players. So I finished with a lot more money than I already had, and I also got some item cards, and the item cards are basically as though you had the item, but we can't make items for everything, so they just give you cards. But I've got like these stony things that I have no idea what I can do with them. I'll probably just sell them for more money. Also, I obviously have, as you know, I have all my starting stuff left, like all my potions of healing and life force left. I didn't spend any of my life force and I didn't use any of my potions. And at the end when I told them that, they were like, you what? They were like all talking and stuff, and a couple people came up to me and asked me what I thought of it, and I was like, it was awesome. And one of the guys came up to me and was like, you were really good with the bow and arrow, that was impressive. And also at one point, one of the people asked me who out of the players I trusted, and I said, I trusted your character because I did. I'm like, oh, thanks mate. And so when it finished, we then had to like de-costume and stuff. We were all wet and muddy. I was literally absolutely covered in mud, but like I didn't care. And then we headed off back to this person's house. A couple of things that kind of happened throughout the LARP and that was, one thing I noticed that I just really liked was some of the LARPers there who obviously have been doing it for a while, when we were LARPing, they tried to include me. They'd like purposely ask my character stuff so that I could get involved, and that was kind of nice because they knew I existed, they knew I was there, and they were trying to make sure I got involved and stuff, which was really sweet. And it was kind of funny at one point, like towards the start of the LARP, someone sweared, and then the leader dude, who is adult, was like, no swearing, we've got young person. And bearing in mind, I'm literally like 1 year younger than most of the people there, because they're all like 18. I'm like 17, so I'm not even that much younger. And I do swear, I swear so much. You can swear around me. Of course, no one followed that rule. In the end, everyone ended up swearing. But one thing that kind of just happened, I don't know how it happened, but me and this other guy, who is one of the regular LARPers at the group, who is also really awesome and I want to be his best friend forever, and he sent me a Facebook request the other day and I got way too excited over it, but you know, he was awesome. We kind of just got this thing now that whenever we saw each other we would just wave at each other and then laugh. Like I don't even know, it just happened. So the LARPing was done and we went back to the leader guy's house where we all chilled. Obviously not everyone who did the LARP went there, but it was mainly the people who regularly go to this LARPing group and stuff. They are literally like squad goals. They are all like besties and it's the cutest thing ever. They're such an amazing group of friends. Like LARPers squad. I really want to be part of it. So I'm gonna make sure I go to all their LARPs and then I can be all their besties too. Now, I am gonna have some issues with the leader of this LARPing group though, because he has a sticker on his car and then his phone case and desktop wallpaper on his computer are all Team Mystic. That's gonna cause some serious trust issues, mate. Team Mystic? Really? You're on that team? Nuh-uh. Team Valor is where it's at, okay? Team Valor are the best team. But anyway, the social event that they had after the LARPing event was actually really fun, and I did get some clips of it. Yay! So I will insert those right here.
Still magic from this angle.
Still magic.
That's a street name.
Eventually, when we send expeditionary troops through the rift, we'll just find a perfectly built tower where we're just bastions set on top.
They spend a life on.
They were like starting on us, and we were like, look, you've messed up our people so much over the past like century. We're gonna just like.
It was so weird.
It's like coming as one character, then coming as a different character.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we should so play one character
Yeah,
between
like-
us.
Tommy.
Always use protection.
But yeah, so the social was really cool. Some funny stuff to come out of it was Meme It, talking about how Jesus comes back as this one guy in a morph suit because there was this pic of this guy in a camouflage morph suit. I don't know why it came up, but one of the guys was saying that when he was my age, he lived on super noodles. And I didn't say anything at the time, but yeah, I live off super noodles too. I'm not even gonna lie. I have super noodles for lunch most days if I'm not at school. It's the only thing I know how to get myself for food. If you don't believe me when I say I live off super noodles, just take a look at our kitchen cupboard. And just a lot of weird conversations happened, which probably sums up LARPers to be age. For a part of the social, because there was someone going around our LARPing event taking pictures, we actually looked through all these pictures, and it was really funny because they were doing the whole zooming in on people's faces and laughing and stuff. So the highlight was probably at one point there was like a picture of this one guy. They zoomed in on like a picture of him and were saying that he looked like a girl in it, and then he's just there like, I do me. It was just so funny. Much banter happened. These people are amazing. Highlight of the night though, they were talking about one of the guys who was in the LARP and how his outfit and costume looked very much like someone from Attack on Titan. Now, at this point, it was like 3 or 4 of the guys were having this conversation, and I was just sat like on a sofa in the room just kind of listening in, because obviously they don't know that I'm very much obsessed with Attack on Titan, and so I just felt like, oh my god, they like Attack on Titan, and I was just waiting for the moment that I could just join in with the conversation. Then they were talking about like Asian characters in it, and so I was like, right, this is my time, this is my time, this is my moment, and so I was just like casually just like, only one of the characters in Attack on Titan is Asian. They just kind of looked at me and they're like, oh, someone's a fan, and I got a high five because I like Attack on Titan as well. Like, mate, you have no idea. I have an Attack on Titan posted there. I have Attack on Titan figures over there, and I mean, I should just wear this to the next LARP and see what reaction I get. I should just go in my Levi Ackerman cosplay, like the whole thing. So I'm hoping I can fangirl about Attack on Titan with them, because I don't know anyone else who likes Attack on Titan as much as I do. That, I think, is pretty much everything that happened, because then after the social, I did have to leave earlier than everyone else, like by a whole hour or something, because they were all gonna order Domino's, but my dad came at 8 o'clock because he had to spend the entire day in the city that the event was, because the trip's an hour long. He didn't want to do 2 journeys there and back. One thing, I have a battle scar from it. I don't even know what it is, but it's on my finger here. And I knew I had it. I knew I was like injuring myself during the day. It's from the bow and arrow, because I had to hold the arrows in place because it didn't have the thing that bows normally and should have. It, like, the arrows rubbed on my skin, and did that to it. And that is pretty much everything, I think. So that was my first LARP. I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. I really want to try the 3-day LARPs if I can find enough money to do the 3-day LARPs. But so that's definitely a thing I'm going to be doing at some point, and you know, it's so cool. And yeah, now I'm going to quickly leave you for a few seconds to show you all the pictures of the event. So that was all the pictures we got. Well, it's not all of them, it's all the ones I'm in. It was just so good and amazing, and hopefully in a future event I can get footage of actual LARPing so you can actually see it, because that would be really cool. My goal, right, is to become good enough friends with these LARPers that they can just be in my YouTube vids, like YouTuber whispers, but with LARPers. Okay, that's a future video. But yeah, LARPing, everybody. So that is my first LARP. It was amazing. I am officially calling myself a LARPer. If there are any like LARP specific vids you want me to make, I will happily make them. Obviously, I'm still a noob at LARPing, so I can't do like how to LARP vids yet. I'm not quite Momo O'Brien level. Oh my god, speaking of Momo O'Brien, right? She's like the reason I went to this LARP, is because she's the one who got me interested in LARPing and made me want to go LARPing. She noticed me. I tweeted her the other day. I was like, hey Momo, thank you so much for showing me LARPing. I had my first ever LARP the other day and it was amazing. And she quoted it and replied to it, and then she mentioned me in another tweet as well, saying, did you get any pics? So then I sent her a picture of me in my costume, and then she quoted that, saying it looked really cool. Senpai noticed me. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now because I've been filming for 45 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below all your LARPing experiences and that sort of thing. And yeah, hopefully you guys look forward to all the future LARPing content that's probably gonna happen on this channel. Like and comment if you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe. I'm still trying to get to 400 for Christmas. Didn't actually realize Christmas is this week, so it's probably not gonna happen, but oh well, subscribe anyway, please. And I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's Vlogmas video. Goodbye!